President and members of the Togo Chamber of Commerce, officials of the FNU, business executives from Togo, ladies and gentlemen, good night and a very good evening to all of you. You would have seen from the last week, our Honorable Prime Minister asked a few of us ministers to accompany him across to Honolulu. This is to do with just reaching out to all people that we tend to forget about Honolulu. And to look North policy is a great policy that we have to try and encourage all forms of trade, investment and tourism all around Fiji. I rather enjoyed the topic because I thought great, finally tourism is going to take off again in October because it's interesting now. I remember as a child, the tourism aspect of Otoko was the many cruise ships that used to come here. I have some news for you without telling you in a while. As I said, it's a pleasure for me to be here today at the Chamber of Commerce annual general meeting, and especially to meet all the executives of Otoko. Ladies and gentlemen, Otoko, as is mentioned earlier, is the second city of Fiji, the sugar city of Fiji, and is an important contributor to the Fijian economy, especially with the growing manufacturing base. It is equally important that Otoko continues to explore opportunities in other areas, such as tourism, to continue the growth of the Otoko economy and create more employment. Today's business forum is timely as it is focused on promoting Otoko as a tourism destination. Otoko began its journey towards becoming a tourism destination quite a long while ago. The recently launched $23 million investment by PMH creating a see a 144-room hotel and 500-seat conference center, which will also increase the relatively low room inventory that we have in Otoko. And once the project is completed, it will boost the ability of Otoko to host international and national conferences. I'll stop there for a minute. I'll keep explaining whilst I'm speaking. In terms of conferences, we have the ability to cater for a maximum probably about 500 to 600 people at a conference. In our travels, we have been asked as to why we don't have larger conferences, because we have very large companies from overseas. I'm specifically talking about the last trip we went to India, wanting to have a conference in Fiji of over 1,500 to 2,000 people that we just cannot accommodate. So these things are great for the local, whether it's 500 or 4,000. There are many more developments that are underway in Otoko, and initially the one shopping complex such as Tapu City and our new McDonald's will bring about significant improvements to the city. It's also interesting to note that the Otoko Chamber of Commerce, along with FNU, is working towards an agro-tourism project which will feature the ancient types of farming and cultural shows. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst the Fijian government is providing an enabling environment in terms of investment incentives, such as the lowest corporate tax rates and tax-free regions and duty-free imports of machineries and investment input, we actually need the private sector to come forward and contribute by improving their standards and their conduct of business. This is where the chambers and industry associations can play an important role. Chambers basically need to become agencies that are self-regulating and thus pushing their members towards maintaining the highest level of standards in terms of service delivery, quality of products, and business ethics. Simply said, if you provide products and services that are benchmarked to international standards, consumers and tourists will be willing to pay the best prices for it. And this is also in line with the fact that we are trying to encourage higher spending tourists to come to Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to reiterate the words of the Honorable Prime Minister that Fiji is open for business, and we mean that we are open for business in every aspect. The Fijian economy is going through an unprecedented period of boom and growth, and never ever before in Fiji's post-independence history has there been 3 consecutive years of above 4% growth rate. In fact, the average growth rate from 2013 to 2014 was 5%. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, a strong and stable economy is evident through the growth in new lending for investment purposes by 15.5% between January and October 2015. And these new investments lead to creation of employment. Furthermore, the recent business expectation survey conducted by the Reserve Bank of Fiji indicates that business confidence is at an all-time high. All of this has been possible only through consistent, sound, pro-growth policies of the Fijian government. The Fijian government will continue to work and to undertake reforms to create an even more enabling and conducive business environment. In July last year, we launched an online investment approval system that will allow foreign investors to obtain approvals from all Tier 1 investment agencies or approval agencies. Basically, it's a one-stop shop. This will significantly help to improve the ease of doing business. The same platform will shortly be extended to domestic investors that will allow proper tracking of their investment approval processes. The growth of the economy is actually a partnership. The government being the enabler of the growth, and the private sector as the drivers of the growth. The economy cannot take leaps and strides if one of the two components are dysfunctional. Hence, to further boost investments, especially in the tourism industry, and to achieve the ultimate goal of improved investments, we need to work together to improve the ease of doing business. This is where the coordination and the cooperation between the town council and the private sector is needed. Whilst it's actually important that we pursue and enhance both new and existing market opportunities abroad, it is equally vital to strengthen our local business environment. The government will continue to use, among others, programs and initiatives such as the National Export Strategy, the Fijian Made by Fijian campaign to raise the profile of the Fijian made products and assist exporters to sell these products abroad. And this juncture also, I must mention that within the tourism industry, over the last 12 months, and still going on with this, there's been a great push from us to ensure that all our hotel operators carry as much Fijian grown food as they can. That's what we need to do. That's why it actually comes from the grassroots and above, where the hotels need to pay attention to what our local suppliers can give. Ladies and gentlemen, the tourism sector has also never been more buoyant. We've had a record 692,630 visitor arrivals and earnings of about $1.4 billion for 2014. Now, October needs to get slides of that. The 2015 growth of 9% for the period of January to November has set us in a very strong position to surpass the target of 714,000 visitors for 2015. And as at the end of November, we were at 99.5% of the 2014 total arrivals, or at 688,884. For 2016, we have set a target of 5% growth in the visitor arrivals, for a target of 749,000 visitors. And the aim of the Fijian government is to basically increase the size of the pie. Hence, investment in marketing in our traditional markets of Australia and New Zealand will continue as we explore the untapped segments of these markets. And furthermore, the introduction in April this year, I think it's April the 5th, of the direct flights to Singapore will provide a significant boost to the already increasing visitor numbers from the growth markets of Asia, such as India and Europe. And this will also provide a boost to the audio-visual industry. I say that also because we have many of our Hollywood producers who actually turn up and they find Fiji a wonderful place to come and film. But it was a bit of a trek for them to even get to Fiji. Coming from India, they refused to fly via Hong Kong. So now they've got Singapore as a route to get here because it just cost them too much to stay extra hours in Hong Kong. There is Film Fiji actually falls under the ministry. And terms of income from this particular sector, for the first 9 months of 2015, the yield from tourism has increased by 11.2%, or about 115 million increase compared to the same period in 2014. For the total earnings until September 2015 stands at $1.151.5 billion. Therefore, it's not just about the arrival numbers, as some may claim, but it's about, as I said earlier, it's about us bringing in the quality tourists that spend more time and more money in Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, our key policy that is essential for a consolidated approach to development of the tourism sector is the Fiji Tourism Development Plan. And the Ministry is on the verge of finalizing the draft Fijian Tourism Development Plan that will encapsulate the vision of the Fijian government for the tourism industry. And we hope to take the draft plan to the industry players in the first quarter of this year. I would urge you all to attend. The plan, amongst other key areas, identifies the measures that need to be put in place in towns and centres to attract more visitors. And as stated numerous times, 85% of the total number of visitors are actually concentrated in Nandi. I'm a bit biased. Why should it just be Nandi? Therefore, we all know about Denmark, but everybody loves Denmark, but there's other parts of Fiji that need to be looked at in terms of tourism industry. Just to give you a little insight also, we had discussions with the South Tourism Association just last evening whilst we were in the north. At the moment, the current problems that they face are trying to get enough flights into Sabu in order to accommodate even more tourists. Sabu is a North American-centric destination. So you get a lot more people coming from North America, and these are high spenders that come to Sabu specifically because they like the destination. Now, why can't Lautoka be like that? We do have wonderful places around Lautoka to do that. Lautoka does extend to quite a large boundary. The specific attractions need to be developed in other regions to entice visitors. Very proud to say that the Lautoka Chamber of Commerce has begun taking the necessary steps, obviously, to bring tourism to Lautoka. Now, another thing that we're working on at the moment, one of the largest cruise operators around the world is Carnival Cruises. There are some talks going on with the ministry and government so that maybe we can accommodate more cruise ships to come into Fiji. Their thoughts were that they will fly in here and cruise from here. And currently, I think the preferred destination is Lautoka. As I say, this is something that's being talked about at the moment. The preferred destination is Lautoka. Carnival Cruises is one of the largest cruise companies in the world. And if they think that Lautoka is a wonderful tourist destination, I think we should all take heed from that. As we all know, ladies and gentlemen, our sugar city has been playing a very crucial role in the Fijian economy. It's our vision to position Lautoka as a unique tourism destination as well. I see some faces around here who have already started the ball rolling with respect to projects that they want to get done in solar systems from us. Glad to be here, glad to be of any assistance if need be. I also understand, ladies and gentlemen, that the Lautoka Chamber of Commerce is the main role is to create and build a strong local economy and provide a consolidated and coordinated voice to the business operators in Lautoka. And this is a very important role as it carries weight and provides focus to what businesses in Lautoka would like to see in the government policies for the growth of businesses and investments. Therefore, the Bainimarama government will continue to support by listening to what the industry has to say and through investing in the enabling infrastructure in Lautoka. We strongly believe that with Ubuntu Latoga as a tourism city today. Thank you very much.